Answer. How many Irish may be on their march to join James Graham, the delinquent? Probably 10,000, said Captain Delgatti. 10,000, replied Murdoch angrily. We know that scarce 2,000 landed at Ardnamurch. Then you know more about them than I do, answered Captain Delgatti with great composure. I never saw them mustered yet, or even under arms. And how many men of the class may be expected? Demanded Murdoch. As many as they can, replied the captain. 17th. If that be the case, said the major, there's no more to be said, but I shall take care as few people see you as possible, for I cannot think your mode of departure can be at all creditable or exemplary to a Christian army. So saying, he left the apartment, and Ronald soon after breathed his last. Page number 456. Answer. If that be the case, said the major, there's no more to be said, but I shall take care as few people see you as possible, for I cannot think your mode of departure can be at all creditable or exemplary to a Christian army. So saying, he left the apartment, and Ronald soon after breathed his last. 18th. How is the patient tonight, sir? Asked Giles. So, returned the doctor. I am afraid you have got yourself into a scrap there, Mr. Giles. I hope you don't mean to say, sir, said Mr. Giles, trembling, that he is going to die. If I thought it, I should never be happy again. I wouldn't cut a boy off, no, not even Brittle's hair, not for all the plates in the country, sir. That's not the point, said the doctor mysteriously. Mr. Giles, are you a Protestant? Answer. How is the patient tonight, sir? Asked Giles. So, returned the doctor. I am afraid you have got yourself into a scrap there, Mr. Giles. I hope you don't mean to say, sir, said Mr. Giles, trembling, that he is going to die. If I thought it, I should never be happy again. I wouldn't cut a boy off, no, not even Brittle's hair, not for all the plates in the country, sir. That's not the point, said the doctor mysteriously. Mr. Giles, are you a Protestant? 19th. In those days, the people of the villages, as they do still, used to send their cows out to the wild land to graze early in the morning. They would go in the care of the shepherds, and not return till evening close on dusk. How I wish I could show you that coming and going of the Indian cows, such little creatures they are, with such large wise eyes, and a great hump between their shoulders, and they are not timid or wild like our cattle. Answer. In those days, the people of the villages, as they do still, used to send their cows out to the wild land to graze. Early in the morning they would go, in the care of the shepherds, and not return till evening, close on dusk. How I wish I could show you that coming and going of the Indian cows. Such little creatures they are, with such large wise eyes, and a great hump between their shoulders, and they are not timid or wild like our cattle. 20th. Who hath dared to wound thee? Cried the giant. Tell me, that I may take my big sword and slay him. Nay, answered the child, but these are the wounds of love. Who art thou? Said the giant, and a strange awe fell on him, and he knelt before the child. Answer. Who hath dared to wound thee? Cried the giant. Tell me, that I may take my big sword and slay him. Nay, answered the child, but these are the wounds of love. Who art thou? Said the giant, and a strange awe fell on him, and he knelt before the little child. 21st. Well, it is just as I have been telling you, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, said Jabez Wilson, mopping his forehead. I have a small pawnbroker business at Coburg Square, near the city. It's not a very large affair, and of late years it has not done more than just give me a living. Answer. Well, it is just as I have been telling you, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, said Jabez Wilson, mopping his forehead. I have a small pawnbroker's business at Coburg Square, near the city. It's not a very large affair, and of late years it has not done more than just give me a living. 22nd. I am sorry to wake you up so early, doctor, said he, but I have had a very serious accident during the night. I came in by train this morning, and on inquiring at the station as to where I might find a doctor, a worthy fellow very kindly escorted me here. Answer. I am sorry to wake you up so early, doctor, said he, but I have had a very serious accident during the night. I came in by train this morning, and on inquiring at the station as to where I might find a doctor, a worthy fellow very kindly escorted me here. Page number 457. 23rd. It was early in April that I woke one morning to find my friend Sherlock Holmes, the famous detective, standing fully dressed by the side of my bed. He was usually a late riser, and as the clock on the bedside table showed me that it was only 7:15, I blinked up at him in surprise. "I'm very sorry to wake you up, Watson," said he. Answer. It was early in April that I woke one morning to find my friend Sherlock Holmes, the famous detective, standing fully dressed by the side of my bed. He was usually a late riser, and as the clock on the bedside table showed me that it was only 7:15, I blinked up at him in surprise. "I'm very sorry to wake you up, Watson," said he. 24th. "Don't cry, Rupert," said Uncle Tim. "In a month's time you'll have heaps. You won't know what to do with them. There'll be so many I shan't want them then," said Rupert. Answer. "Don't cry, Rupert," said Uncle Tim. "In a month's time you'll have heaps. You won't know what to do with them. There'll be so many. I shan't want them then," said Rupert. 25th. He soon reached his home, an apartment in London, and throwing himself into a chair, breathed heavily. His wife was curious at seeing him home while the public houses were still open, so she plied him with questions. "Spent hours with me," she repeated in a dazed voice. "Don't you feel well, Charlie?" Answer. He soon reached his home, an apartment in London, and throwing himself into a chair, breathed heavily. His wife was curious at seeing him home while the public houses were still open, so she plied him with questions. "Spent half hour with me," she repeated in a dazed voice. "Don't you feel well, Charlie?" Exercise 89. Punctuate the following sentences using capital letters where necessary. First, "We don't know," answered the children. He has gone away. Second, "Perhaps you have left it in the garden," my aunt would suggest. Third, "What are you doing here?" in a gruff voice he asked, and the children ran away. Fourth, "Sweet my child," she said, "I live for thee." Fifth, later in the Rig Ved and in the same Yajur and Earth Ved, they began to ask profound questions. Sixth, "My punishment is just, but, O God, it is hard, very hard," he said. Seventh, "Oh," said Napoleon, "we can refuse nothing to him." Eighth, Mr. Brown, the tall, fair-looking, handsome kindergarten gentleman, whom I know, was reading Shakespeare's Macbeth. Ninth, "Oh, thank you," said Judy. "I think you are the kindest man I have ever met." 10th. "Shall I weep?" she asked, and he answered, "Weep." 11th. "If people lie to me, they are poorer." "Not I," said the bishop. 12th. "Mother said, Kezia, can't I ask the Kelvies just once?" "Certainly not, Kezia. But why not run away, Kezia? You know quite well why not." 13th. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked as he stirred clear of the mass. The child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I want my mother, I want my father." 14th. "Who are you?" asked the earth again. "I am only a little comet," said the star. "But who are you?" 15th. But Isaac said to one of them, "You have forgotten one thing that belongs to a mill." "What is that?" asked Isaac, for he supposed that from the roof of the mill to its foundation he had forgotten nothing. "Why, where is the miller?" said his friend. "That is true, I must look out of once," said Isaac, and he set himself to consider how the deficiency should be supplied. Page number 458. 16th. It is generally found in every country and in every age that if the mother is good and intelligent, the children are good and intelligent, and where the mother is bad, the children also are bad. Every great man must have a great mother. The son generally imitates the father, but as his earlier days are spent with his mother, she instills ideas into his mind along with her milk. 17th. The knowledge of English of the students of most of the secondary schools is very poor. That is quite evident from the results of the school final examination, where the percentage of failure is very high, especially in the case of Moffisil students. A look into the answer papers of boys make it clear that their knowledge of idiom is average, of composition below standard, of grammar unsatisfactory. 18th. A crow stole a piece of bread and flew in with it to a tree. A fox, seeing her and wishing to get the bread for himself, tried to obtain it by flattery. "What a beautiful bird you are!" he exclaimed. "If your voice is equal to your beauty, you deserve to be called the queen of birds." The crow was highly pleased and opened her mouth to caw. When down fell the birds, when down fell the piece of bread, the fox quickly picked it up and ran off. 19th. Sir Philip Sidney was a brave soldier, a poet, and the most accomplished gentleman of his time. At the Battle of Zutphen, he received a wound and was carried bleeding and faint to the camp. Men wounded in battle usually suffer from extreme thirst, but water at such a time is not easily found. A small quantity was brought to quench the thirst of Sir Philip, but as he was raising it to his lips, he observed that a poor wounded soldier looked at the cup with eager eyes. 20th. Did you hear the story of Newton and his little dog Diamond? One day when he was 50 years old and had been hard at work, more than 20 years studying the theory of light, he went out of his chamber, leaving his little dog asleep before the fire on the table. A heap of manuscript papers containing all the discoveries Newton had made. When his master was gone up, rose Diamond and jumped up the table, overthrowing the candle. The papers immediately caught fire. 21st. One day the king sent for Perseus. When the young man stood before him, he began to praise his boldness. Flattered by his praise, Perseus said, "O king, I am grateful to you for your kind words, but you are not wrong. I did not know what fear is." 22nd. But no mercy would the cruel Shylock show, and he said, "By my soul I swear, there is no power in the tongue of man to alter me. Why then, Antonio, said Portia, you must prepare your bosom for the knife. While Shylock was sharpening a long knife to cut off the pound of flesh, Portia said to Antonio, have you anything to say, Antonio? With a calm resignation replied, I have little to say. 23rd. Have you finished your lesson, George? Said Mr. Maurice to his son. No, father, replied George, hanging down his head. Why not, my son? Because it is difficult, father. I am sure I shall never learn it. Besides, I could not remember it after I had learnt it. If I were to promise a holiday on the 3rd of the next month, do you think you would forget the date? 24th. Socrates looked at him and said, I return your good wishes and will do as I am bid. Then turning to us, he said, how charming the man is. Since I have been in prison, he has always been coming to see me, and at times he would talk to me and was as good to me as could be. 25th. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done. It is curious, he remarked, but I feel quite warm. That is because you have done a good action, said the prince. 26th. Mirinda hung upon her father, saying, why are you so ungentle? Have pity, sir. I will be his surety. This is the second man I ever saw, and to me he seems a true one. Silence, said her father. One word more will make me chide you, girl. You think there are no more such fine men, having seen only him and Caliban. I tell you, foolish girl, most men far excel him. 27th. I cannot understand it, said Mr. William. Oh, what can you understand? Said his friend. Well, said Mr. William, just look at this suit I am wearing. The wool was grown in Australia. The cloth was woven in Yorkshire. The buttons were made in India. The suit was made in London, and I bought it in Cairo. What's so remarkable about that? Asked his friend. Isn't it wonderful, said Williams, taking no notice of the interruption, that so many people can make a living out of something I haven't paid for. Page number 459. Page number 459. Difference between words. Article 5, 486. Difference between words. First, accede, ACCEDE, means consent. I cannot accede to your request. Exceed, EXCEED, meaning surpass. My expenditure exceeds my income. Second, access, ACCESS, access. Entrance, there is no access to the room from this side. Access, EXCESS, more than enough. Excess is always bad. Third, adapt, 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 to fit one thing to another. We should adapt ourselves to changing circumstances. Adept, ADEPT, skillful hand. He is adept in painting. Adopt, ADOPT, take up. He adopted my plan. Fourth, advice, ADVICE, advice. You should follow your teacher's advice. Advise, ADVISE, advise. The doctor advised the patient to take rest. Fifth, affect, AFFECT. First, this will affect his health. Second, he affected ignorance, meaning he feigned, means FEIGN, feinge. Effect, EFFECT, effect. First, he effected many reforms, meaning he accomplished many reforms. Second, what will be the effect of this, meaning what will be the result of this. Sixth, Afflict, Afflict, afflict. 2. Trouble. He was afflicted with misfortune. Inflict, 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 to impose. A heavy fine was inflicted on him. 7th. Illusion, Allusion, illusion. Explain the illusion in the passage. Illusion, Illusion. Deception. The world is an illusion. 8th. Altar, Altar, altar. Offering were placed on the altar. Altar, Alter. He has altered the plan, means he has changed the plan. 9th. Alteration, Alteration, alteration. Change. I noticed no alteration there. Altercation, Altercation, altercation. Quarrel. What is the altercation about? 10th. Alternate, Alternate, alternate. Coming by turns. He comes here on alternate days. Alternative, Alternative. A choice between two things. This question is alternative to that. 11th. Amend, Amend, amend. Make or become better. He will have to amend his style of writing if he wants to be successful. Emend, Emend, emend. Take out mistakes from. I requested him to amend the passage if necessary. Page number 460. 12th. Amiable, good-tempered, kind-hearted. I have always found him a most amiable fellow. Amicable, Amicable, done in a friendly way. We arrived at an amicable settlement. 12th. Antique, Antic, odd. He was laughed at for his antique gestures. Antique, Antique, old-fashioned. His clothes were antique. 14th. Apposite, suitable. The example was apposite to the case. Opposite, Opposite. His house is just opposite to mine. 15th. Appraise, Appraise. To estimate, to form a judgment about. He correctly appraised the ability of the candidate. Appraise, Apprise. Inform, I apprised him of the correct situation. 16th. Artful, Artful. Clever, crafty. He is an artful magician. Artificial, Artificial. Artificial. This is an artificial ruby. 17th. Ascent, Ascent. Going up. The plane is on the ascent. Ascent, Assent. Agreement. I gave my assent to the plan. 18th. Essay, Assay, meaning attempt. The child essayed to walk. Essay, Essay. Write an essay on charity. 19th. Bail, Bail, bail. Security. He stood bail for me. Bale, Bale. Bundle of goods. Many bales of jute were destroyed by fire. 20th. Barbarism, Barbarism. Barbarism. Uncluttered state. The country was then in a state of barbarism. Barbarity, Barbarity. Barbarity. Savage cruelty. The king was hated for his acts of barbarity. Barbarian, Barbarian. Barbarian. An attributive use of noun barbarian. The sights of London charmed the barbarian king. It is a barbarian custom. Barbaric, 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 used in a favorable sense. The zamindar's place was full of barbaric grandeur. Rough, uncultured, etc. Can used in a favorable sense. Rough, uncultured, etc. Barbarous, Barbarous, barbarous meaning uncivilized. The country was then in a barbarous state. 21st. Beneficial, 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 useful. Exercise is beneficial to health. Beneficent, Beneficent, beneficent means doing good. The beneficent zamindar donated rupees 500 to the relief fund. 22nd. Biannual, Biannual, twice in a year. It is a biannual magazine. Biennial, 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 once in every 2 years. Our company gives biennial leave travel concession. Page number 461. 23rd. Birth, Birth, birth. She gave birth to a male child. Berth, 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 a sleeping place in a train or ship. I have reserved a sleeping berth. 24th. Bona fide, Bonafide, meaning real, sincere. You must attend to the bona fide buyers. We receive a large number of bona fide inquiries. Bona fides, Bonafides. This is a noun meaning honest intention. His bona fides is in doubts. 25th. Born, given birth to. He was born in a rich family. Borne, Borne, means carried. The child was borne on the shoulder. 26th. Canon, 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 rule. Follow the canons of morality. Cannon, 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 meaning a gun. They were killed by cannon fire. 27th. Canvas, 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 a kind of coarse cloth. I bought a canvas bag. Canvas, Canvas, seek. I am canvassing voting for my friend. 28th. Career, Career, career. I had a bright academic career. Carrier, Carrier, carrier. I have bought a tiffin carrier. 29th. Carve, carve, to cut a finger into or out of wood, etc. He carved the image out of stone. Curve, curve, curve. Bend. I saw him at the curve of the road. 30th. Cast. He cast me out. The cast of his head is good. Caste, Caste, caste. What caste are you? 31st. Casual, meaning occasional. I had 5 days casual leave. Casual, Causal, relating to cause. Give the cause form of fall. 32. Censor, 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 to exercise censorship. The book is censored in India. Censor, Censure, to criticize unfamously, reprove. He was censored by neglecting his duties. 33rd. Ceremonious, 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 implies an excess of formality. His greeting was too ceremonious. Ceremonial, 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 relating to a ceremony. Christmas is a ceremonial occasion. 34. Childish, childlike, Childish, childish, applied to grown-up men. Childish refers to the bad points of a child. Childlike to its good points. His childish conduct disgusted us all. His childlike simplicity charmed us all. 35th. Check, 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 control. Check your passion. Check, Cheque, Who gave this check to you? 36. Cite, C-I-T-E, cite. Can you cite your authority? Cite, S-I-T-E, cite. Position. The site of the school is good.